The history hunters are thinking big and finding out about a man who won a competition and got to design a giant cathedral that took 70 years to build. That's a bit different from his other famous design, a tiny telephone box.
Today I'm in Liverpool, home to the Beatles, the Mersey Ferry and one or two football clubs. But the real reason I'm here is to try and piece together the story of a local historical figure who literally changed the landscape of Liverpool. And giving me a hand on this chilly day, Erin, Jade, Elliot and Jack. They're today's history hunters. Right guys, let's go. Behind us is our starting clue, the big red thing. What is it?
Telephone box.
Good.
Now we have mobiles, telephone boxes don't get used so often, but they're still a symbol of Britain and there are thousands across the country.
What could be historically important about a telephone box?
How long it's been around.
Yeah, anything else?
The person who made it.
The person who made it, yeah, very good.
Like old London buses and red post boxes, they're instantly recognisable. But someone had to decide what they looked like.
If we wanted to find out more about the design, where would we go?
Museum.
Museum, that's a good suggestion.
The team work out the telephone box is in some ways a type of building. It's got doors and a roof, just like a house.
Who designs a house? Any idea?
Architect.
So if we want to find out more about the design of phone box and who's behind it, I reckon an architect is a really good place to go, okay? This is Mushtaq. He's an architect.
We've been looking at the telephone boxes and we'd like to know who gets picked for the designs and how.
The K2 telephone box was a competition. They chose that design from lots of different designs, from lots of different architects.
Lots of building designs are chosen this way. Mushtaq shows us the designs for a competition he'd won.
This is it. It's a cafe building on a park. We came up with an idea that was very different to everyone else's. It's a bit like origami, and that's what won the competition for us.
Where can we see the telephone box entries?
Well, sometimes the RIBA, which is the Royal Institute of British Architects, they hold competition entries.
It sounds like a good clue, so we all head off to the local branch of the RIBA to take a look at their online photographic archives.
What do you think we should search?
The K2.
K2. Well done, Elliot. We know it's called K2, don't we? What does that look like?
The telephone box.
A telephone box. So that is clearly design on paper for the telephone box.
The history hunters are looking at the actual original designs for the phone box. They show the designer was called Giles Gilbert Scott. Result. It also says he was born in 1880 and died in 1960, and that the telephone box design was for a competition in 1924. The history hunters looked to see what else he designed. They all had a theme.
They all have big towers and like the big buildings.
Yeah, they're huge, aren't they?
They wonder if he had anything to do with Liverpool's biggest building. That also has a big tower.
The Anglican Cathedral. I'd say it was one of the biggest buildings in Liverpool.
And look, the designer is... Yeah.
The archive shows that the cathedral was also the result of a competition held in 1903. And the competition was won by the same man, Sir Giles Gilbert Scott. That means Sir Giles was only 22 when he won the competition. It appears the red telephone box is closely linked to one of Liverpool's most famous buildings. There's only one place to go to search for more clues.
What a building. Look at that tower. Incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, what sorts of things might we find out at a place like this?
The model of the church that he made.
Yes, so something about the design. If we want to find out more about the building, what sorts of sources we say in history? What sort of sources would we see?
Files and documents.
Good. Anything else that's not actually sort of handwritten?
Pictures.
Good. So we've got documents, we've got pictures, but let's not forget why we're here in the first place. The cathedral's amazing, and that's also a historical source of the building, okay? We're going to split into two teams.
The guys want to speak to the people who knew Sir Giles the best, so we arrange for a real-life relative, or three, of Sir Giles to chat to them. The others have been given a real privilege and allowed to see the actual designs Sir Giles made, and old photos of the cathedral's construction.
These are the drawers where we keep all the drawings that Giles Gilbert Scott did. He did hundreds and hundreds of drawings every single year. Now, you know there was a competition to build the cathedral?
Yeah.
Well, lots of people entered, but they had to choose just 6 designs to see who was going to win the competition. And these are some of the early designs. This one's from a very famous architect called Charles Rennie Mackintosh. And there's the one Scott had originally as his entrance. What do you think's different, Jack?
It's only got one tower. Why do you think he changed his mind?
He grew older and he had different ideas. And the first design was very fussy and very cluttered and very ornate. And this one is much simpler. There's an interesting one there.
Is that him there?
That's Mr. Scott there, yes.
How many people worked on it because it's so big?
Over the years that it took to build the whole cathedral, there were hundreds and hundreds of men worked on the cathedral. Some of them started when they were only 14 and they carried on till they were old men. They worked the whole of their life on building this cathedral. And do you notice anything about the dress of the people? What's missing, do you think?
Helmets.
Helmets, that's the one, yes. You won't see one hard hat in any of these photographs.
Did Gilbert Scott live to see his cathedral fully built?
No, he didn't, because he died in 1960 and the cathedral wasn't actually finished until 1978. So it was finished a long time after he died.
Sir Giles's son Richard, daughter-in-law Eileen and grandson Nicholas have brought some photographs to show Erin and Jade. It's a terrific opportunity to meet people who really knew the man himself.
That's Giles there. He's rather a sweet little boy. Apparently he didn't enjoy school very much, did he?
No.
No. That's Giles. And you see the little boy on his shoulder? Guess who that is?
Richard is now nearly 90 years old.
What was he like as a dad?
He was a great dad, mischievous and humble.
How did he get to design something so big?
He won a competition at the age of 22. Formerly, he designed a pipe rack, but nothing else.
A pipe rack. Do you know what a pipe rack is?
No.
You know people who smoke pipes?
Oh, yeah.
It's just something to pop your pipe in. So it's quite a big...
Great faith in him, even though he was so young.
Was he at it 24/7?
He was at it all his life, and he changed it many times. He often said that his rubber was his best friend.
Would he be proud of it?
No, the West End is completely different to his design.
Guys, what a day. I imagine your heads are about to explode with all the information you've got. So, sum it up for me. What do we know? Starting with the red telephone box, what do we know about that?
Sir Giles Scott invented them.
Yep.
It was designed in 1924.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Anything else?
He won a competition when he was 22.
Yeah, so he's a young guy in his early 20s. He wins a competition, and what's he going to build from that competition?
He was to build this.
This? You guys spoke to his family. What did you learn from that?
That he was a mischievous man.
Yeah, that's quite nice, isn't it? And
Said that his rubber was his best friend because he swapped and changed everything.
He didn't finish it until 18 years after he died.
yeah.
Because he kept on changing it.
Well done today, guys. Good work. I think that's first-class history hunting. Well, the team have been all over Liverpool trying to work out the story behind the red telephone box. And it seems Sir Giles Gilbert Scott, the man who designed the red telephone box, played a huge part in making Liverpool look the way it does. And that's the story our history hunters have uncovered.
Giles Gilbert Scott was born in 1880. Aged just 22, he won a competition to design Liverpool's Anglican Cathedral in 1903. The cathedral was Scott's first job, but it wasn't his only major project. After winning the competition to design the cathedral, he went on to design huge buildings across the UK. But perhaps his most recognisable work was far smaller. They may not be used as much these days, but at their peak there were around 70,000 red telephone boxes across the UK. Scott came up with a design for the K2 box in 1924. His hugely influential work across Britain led to Sir Giles becoming knighted in 1924 and becoming the president of the Royal Institute of British Architects in 1933. The cathedral remained his most famous building, and its construction dominated. In fact, it remained unfinished when he died in 1960. Sir Giles Gilbert Scott was a hugely influential architect who left his mark not only on the skyline of Liverpool, but for a while at least, on almost every street corner in the country.